Can we be honest? Staff burnout in early education is very real. The long hours, the emotional toll, the constant demands, it's all too much. But what if I told you that this burnout isn't just about the workload? It's also about leadership. I've worked with countless ECE leaders who all say the same thing. I just can't seem to keep good staff. And here's what I tell them. People don't just leave because they're tired. They leave for other reasons. They leave because they don't feel valued. They leave because they don't feel heard. They leave because they just don't see a future for themselves in the work. They leave because they don't feel prioritized as much as the children and families are. But here's the good news. The same way that burnout spreads is the same way that buy-in can spread. The strongest leaders know how to re-engage their staff and create a workplace where people actually want to stay. So how do you prevent burnout and create real buy-in? Here are some leadership shifts that you can make that actually work. First, move them from doing more to what do you need? This is important because most burned out employees aren't lazy, they're just actually overwhelmed. So instead of pushing them for more, ask them what they need to feel supported in their role. Find out where they really are, because when leaders are listening and leaders are responding to what they're hearing, that's when staff feel valued, and valued staff are invested staff. So let me tell you about a center that I worked with. They struggled with high turnover because the staff felt exhausted and unheard. And when the director started having monthly check-in meetings and having conversations about what's working and what's not, and actually doing something about it, the morale improved, engagement was increased, and turnover dropped by 40% in about 6 months. The other thing that you can do is make growth a priority. Now, this is important because people stay when they see an opportunity. Burnout often comes from stagnation when you have no place to go, right? So if your team doesn't see a path forward, they'll look for one somewhere else. So create professional development opportunities, create mentorship programs and leadership pathways right within your organization. Instead of, we can't give raises right now, try saying things like, here's how we can invest in your growth. Because there's always a way to invest in people's growth. Recognition and professional development go a very long way in keeping staff. It shows them that you're invested in their next level. Then you want to make sure that you're recognizing and rewarding staff every single week. And I know that sounds like a lot, but recognition actually fuels retention. Burnout doesn't happen overnight. It builds when people are feeling unnoticed. So make sure that every week you're taking a little bit of time out to acknowledge the hard work. And it could be a quick shout out in a meeting, a handwritten note, an email, a phone call, a text message, or simply just saying, I see you, can really change everything. So if you're tying recognition to impact, instead of just saying, great job today, say something like, I saw how you handled that tough moment with patience and care. And that really made a difference for that child and for our team, also for our organization. The point is to actually give a specific example. Preventing burnout isn't about working harder. It's about leading better. When leaders create buy-in, staff don't just stay, they thrive. Now, if you want to build a team that's engaged, that's committed, and a team that's in it for the long haul, let's make it happen. Visit www.drkeena.com for leadership strategies that keep your staff invested. Leadership isn't just about keeping the lights on. It's so much more than that. It's about keeping the passion alive for yourself and certainly for your team members. So keep leading, keep growing, keep building momentum, and most importantly, take care of your team so that they can take care of the children.